I'm going to take you back. 1982. First day you walk into the office, and we're in a period of time where, Terry Bradshaw and Dan Fouts are still playing. We're still 3 divisions in each conference. The Jets are still playing at Shea Stadium. And everybody's oohing and eyeing over the fact that Warren Moon's about to make $1 million in a year. When all of that started for you as a wide-eyed young man, could you ever have foreseen what this has become over the course of the last 40-odd years?
Well, Scott, when I walked in, I was so wide-eyed just because that was always a dream of mine to be part of the NFL in some fashion. And just walking in those doors and working for Pete Rozelle in an indirect way, very indirect way at the time, but to be part of something that I feel so strongly about, so passionate about, and love so much, I was overwhelmed with just that opportunity, even though it was a 4-month internship. But at the end of the day, when I look back now, I could never imagine that. It's not just the size or the international aspect of it, or it's the impact that it has on people. I think that is what makes me feel so good about the game and the NFL.
I know that you've said in the past that you thought Pete Rozelle was one of the greatest commissioners in any sport, and that Paul Tagliabue was as well. Mm-hmm. And we lost Paul back in November. If people missed it earlier this week, kind of a new way to honor what is a really big part of who he was and his legacy.
Yeah, he was a great commissioner. I often say I worked for the 2 best commissioners in sports. I admire both of them as individuals, as commissioners, and they meant so much to me in giving me opportunity. And one of the things that Paul cared so deeply about is seeing our players as more than just football players. He was an athlete himself, a college basketball player at Georgetown, and he cared deeply about academic achievement. So working with his family and trying to decide how we properly honor him, we created this award. It'll begin next year, which is the Paul Tagliabue Academic Achievement Award. And I think this is going to be able to highlight the great things that our players do by going back and getting further education. I talk about Bobby Wagner went back and got his MBA during the season. It's extraordinary achievements by young men. We need to continue to shine the light on how wonderful our players are.
Are we up to 9 international games next year?
Yes. This week we announced our 9th game. Yes. So, yes, that's another growing part of the league.
And it's not just the expansion of the international games themselves. I'm going to imagine it's the expansion to countries that have not experienced this yet. And I'm assuming there's fan bases there that are clamoring to be able to see an NFL game.
And it's a combination of, are there fan bases there? And does it have the potential to be a bigger fan base? We don't do these as one-off events. We do them as part of a strategic attempt to grow a fan base on a global basis. And now with the games, we're now getting cities, countries, markets that say, we want one of those. And that's a great thing for our future. And our players have really taken a great position on it, that we're part of that history of bringing the game to the world. We're somewhat ambassadors, and I'm really proud to see that. And we'll continue this growth in partnership with every one of those elements of the game, and I think it's going to be really powerful.
Talking with NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, everybody wants to know, are we headed toward, when are we going to arrive at 18 games? And I know that that's not something that we know for sure right now. Is that the direction that we believe that we are heading in?
Well, I think we always have to look at what we can do to improve. I think there were times when we had 6 preseason games. I don't think that's the best quality of product. We don't need 6 preseason games. We don't need 3 right now, you can argue. And so should we look at the season structure? I think that always has to be done. We agreed with our Players Association that we're going to make those decisions collectively, whether it's roster size, whether it's is there a double bye, and that'll affect media partners, fans. That's a big discussion. We were successful in going from 16-4 to 17-3. I think the big part of that is the safety of the game and what's the wear and tear on our players. All of that has to be balanced, and I think, with our partnership, we'll find a way to at least evaluate that and make the best decision.
So one of the things that would lead to, thinking-wise, it's been a long time since we've seen a new team. Is expansion kind of always out there sitting as a thought?
Well, you can think of expansion as the number of teams, or you can think of expansion as us playing in international markets and reaching in different areas and expanding our international series. I think as far as teams are concerned, at some point, if our international growth continues the way it is, I can see international growth on an international basis. There undoubtedly, even today, I think there are cities out there that could support an NFL team, and we're at the early stages. So, I don't take international expansion off the table. I think it's very possible someday.
When you deal with Super Bowl halftime shows, you're dealing with artists, and this has gone back since the beginning of time. And do you concern yourself in these situations? I mean, we've seen situations that have happened in the past, and live mics and that type of thing. Is it a concern that you bring to the table as you make the decision, or straight on through until that halftime show or whatever it is over?
Absolutely. It's a big platform, Scott. It's grown dramatically. It's for an artist, it's now become the number one thing is to be on that Super Bowl halftime platform. But what we really focus on is not just the quality of the artists, but that they understand the platform, they understand the opportunity to unite the world, to be able to bring people together and use their talents to have that kind of an impact. And so that's how we really look at it. Is you have to be a great artist to have this platform, but you also have to really have a talent for being able to bring people together. And most of these artists love that challenge, and most of them love the opportunity, and those are the ones that are the most successful ultimately.
Finally, 4+ hours from now, there's going to be confetti here, there's going to be a trophy, there's going to be a wild celebration. What goes through your mind in that moment when you're down there and looking out not just at the players who are on either side of you or the coach or the owner, but the fans, the families that are sitting? It's one of my favorite pictures in my time doing this. What's going through your head in those moments when you're about to award yet another Lombardi trophy?
Well, listen, I always say that winning the Super Bowl is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, team achievement, because I think it's the most significant team sport. There's no other sport that has all the elements of football to win. It's a long season, but you get to that point and you see how hard these individuals have come together as a team, and the fans and the families that to support them. And frankly, the support that we've had from the fan base just overall, and the season, as you look back on it later today, it'll be a fun moment for us to say thank you, San Francisco. Thank you to every one of our markets and our teams, because they're all part of the season. And congratulations to a new Super Bowl champ.
Roger, thanks so much for the time. Really do appreciate it.
My pleasure. Great to see you.